The day is October 15, 2016, and we're going to continue with the signs. I made a new, a heading page for the beginning page. I realized there's so many signs. There's a lot more signs that we can put up there, but these are the ones that at least we'll go over during our studies. And we will, I try to base it on the book of Ezekiel. You know, there's signs in the book of Ezekiel and the prophecies that are in the book of Ezekiel, because those signs and prophecies are not studied very much. Because everybody wants to study Daniel and Revelation, and kind of like Ezekiel becomes a secondary book, you know, and it's not studied that much. But we need to study all the signs, because all the signs will all come together and become one for us, so that we can understand what is going on in the end time, right? In our binding time. Okay, let's see, what did we do last week? Okay, let me just go back here. We did all right, here we go. This is what we did last. This is what we did last week. Inheriting the promised land. Remember, we were a little bit confused with our reckoning right here. Right? We were a little bit confused, yeah. But it's actually not that difficult. Okay, because let's do this over again, so we get it right, because I did not leave that with a very good taste in my mouth, because there was a little confusion. All right, we'll just go over these numbers again. Abraham was born, and then he left Haran, according to Genesis 12, verse 4, he was 75 years old, all right? We get that, that's easy. And Isaac was born when he was 100 years old, all right? And then Isaac was mocked by who?
By Ishmael.
Mocked by Ishmael. And who is Ishmael? The son of Hagar. And who's Hagar? Is an Egyptian, right? An Egyptian. So Ishmael is an Egyptian. So when an Egyptian is mocking you, you're being afflicted by the Egyptian, right? Right. And the Bible says you're going to be afflicted in Egypt for 400 years, right? So being afflicted, this is the 400 years. You're afflicted by Egypt for 400 years, because Ishmael is the son of an Egyptian, right? And so Israel is being afflicted here for 400 years. That's why you get this 400 years, right? Okay. So you have this 400 years. And how old was Isaac when he had Jacob and Esau? 60 years, 60 years, right?
Yeah.
So from the time he was born, which is right here, until the time that he had Jacob and Esau, he's 60 years old. All right. How old was Jacob when he entered Egypt? 130 years. So from here, which is when Isaac was born, until Jacob was born, is 60. Plus the 130, which is 190. All right? But you got to take off this 5 years, right? So from here is 190 minus 5 to here, right? That's why it's 185, right?
So we reconcile that.
Right. You reconcile, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's reconciled. Okay, there's no confusion there now. Because from here to here is 400. So here, from here to here is what? 400 minus 185, which is 215 years. So they were afflicted by the Egyptians for 400 years. But they were in the land of Egypt for 215 years.
Yeah.
Right. 215 years they're in the land of Egypt. Okay. Now, from the time of the promise until they came out is how many years? 430 years, right? Because he left Haran. You are going to sojourn in the land. And then they says, you are going to sojourn for 430 years. So then people go, oh, wait a minute, they were not in Egypt. They were in Egypt for 430 years? No, that's not correct. They were sojourning. So even Abraham was sojourning, and Isaac and Jacob was sojourning, right? So they were sojourning all the way through here, and then eventually they came out of Egypt, right? With great substance, right? All right. Sojourning, yeah, being a pilgrim. We are sojourning, right? Yeah, we are sojourning, right? So that's a 430 years. Then
140 years.
All right. For 430 years, they are sojourning to come out of Exodus to go to Canaan, and then they only walked up for about 2 years, and they were at the border of Canaan, right? We did this. They were at Kadesh Barnea, and they were already ready to enter, but they did not. They didn't have faith. They didn't believe, right? So then they had to wander around some more, right? For 38 years, right? So there was 2 years, and then they wandered around for 38 years until all those spies died, right?
Yeah.
So that's why when they crossed Jordan, it's 40. Okay, now this is 479. It's a little tricky, right? 479. It's 479 is 1 Kings 6 verse 1. I want to read that. 1 Kings 6 verse 1. This is a little bit confusing, but 1 Kings 6 verse 1. Where's 1 Kings 6 verse 1?
And it came to pass in the 480th year, after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the Mount Zeph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord.
Right. So you know the building of the house is right here. It's in the 4th year, right? It's in the 4th year. But that's 100. It's after
400.
Right.
So that's how you came with 479 of the
Right.
was
See,
1 year.
this is it says 480 years after the children of Israel come out of Egypt. Now,
So-
James Ussher says it's 480. James Ussher says it's 479. See, if you come out of Egypt, it's the 480 years after. So when you get to that point, it's actually 479 years, right? After.
Because when you start really, you don't start right away.
You don't start with year 0.
You know, like when you were born,
Right.
you were year 0.
Right.
And then the first year, then you start your way.
Right. So that's why this is why it's 479.
Okay.
James Ussher read it, says, oh, when you come out of Egypt. But then there is something about this 479 that doesn't fit, such that it actually will fit much better if they cross Jordan. Now, I don't know that specifically. I'm gonna have to email our chronologer and see why that is. All right. Now, here's another. So now we know this is 84 because Saul reigned for 40 years. David reigned for 40 years. And Solomon reigned for 40 years. Right. So from Saul until Rehoboam and Jeroboam is 120 years.
Okay.
Right? Because Saul, David plus Solomon.
Yeah.
Right. After Solomon, it was divided. Jeroboam, Rehoboam, right? Okay. So from here it's 120 years. Right. Okay. Now, there's something that I want to do while we're here. Okay. All right. There is something that happened when they came out of Egypt. All right. Who was the first? Which country, which kingdom was the first kingdom that attacked them, and they had to fight them when they first came? Well, it was not the Egyptians. They crossed. It's the Amalekites. Now this is a little confusing because the Amalekites, Amorites, you don't know the difference between one and the other. Do you know the difference between one and the other?
No. Amalek is somebody.
Right, Amalek.
Amalek.
Right, the first one that's attacked them and fought them was the Amalek. When was it that they attacked them? It was in the second month. Remember, they went into the wilderness of Sin, and then they got to Rephidim. And then there was no water. So what did they do? They murmured. They murmured, and they said, "Oh, you have come out here so we can die in the desert, and we have no more water." So Moses said, "Oh, these people are, ask God, what should I do?" And God told him to, what do you do? Hit the rock of Horeb, and then the water will come out, right? And they named that place Massa and Meribah. Massa and Meribah, because the children of God was murmuring, right? And he had to hit the rock because of that. Okay, right after that, the Amalekites attacked them. So what did they have to do? They had to fight the Amalekites. And remember what Moses had to do? He lifted his arms.
As long as his arms is lifted.
As long as his arms were lifted, what happened to them? They won, right?
Yeah.
They were winning when so who had to lift his arms? Joshua and Hur. All right, Joshua and Hur. And then the Amalekites. And I'm gonna read this right here. It's Exodus 17. And then they defeated the Amalekites. Okay, this is what is written. Exodus 17 verse 13. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. Right? Remember, this is the second month after coming out of this right here. That's basically 1532. Right?
1534.
Well, this is about 1534. Exodus. No, they haven't crossed Jordan yet. Here, this is only the second month. Right? Yeah. This is 1532 BC. Right? And the Lord said unto Moses, "Write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. For he said, "Because the Lord has sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." Okay.
They're doomed.
Right. So Amalek was the first one that, Amalek, God has this big, thing with Amalek. So when will Amalek be actually destroyed? Okay.
Generation to generation.
Right. We read it in Patriarchs and Prophets 6:27. All right. It was in the story of Saul. Remember? What did God say through Samuel to Saul? You have to go and kill all the Amalekites, right? Even the sheep and everything. You have to kill everything. So, but Saul, what did Saul do? Did he kill everything?
No, he just
What did he do?
he kept the good animals.
Yeah, he kept good animals, and he claimed he was going to use it for sacrifice, right? And what did he do with the king of the Amalekites?
He kept,
Yeah, he let him live.
Yeah.
What was his name? Agag. Remember Agag?
Oh,
Do you remember Agag? It's Haman. All right. Yeah. Agag the Amalekite. And then who? And then what did Samuel do? Samuel cut Agag to pieces, right? Why? Why was everybody killed? Because for 400 years, the execution of this sentence has been deferred until that time. It's been 400 years from here until Saul was anointed and towards his end of his reign. Okay, so you go from 1532 until, let's see, the last 1097 minus 40 would be what? 1097, it would be 1057. So from 1532 until 1057, it's got to be 400 years plus.
97.
It's actually 475 years. See, the Amalekites, they attacked here, but then they were eventually destroyed in 475. I mean, 1057, which is actually 475 years later. But Ellen White said for 400 years, you know, they were supposed to have been destroyed at 400 years. Goes to show you, God has mercy still. He even stretched it, even past the fourth generation, even past 400 years.
Even for us now.
Oh, yeah. There you go. See, this is the mercy. God says, you know what? You finish your iniquity at 400 years, but I'm still going to give you some more. He gave the Amalekites 75 extra years until they were demolished. Right?
What number is that?
Patriarchs and Prophets 627. All right. Okay, but anyway, here. So remember the Amalekites, right? Agag. And the Amalekites were right here, and they were destroyed right here. And that's when the iniquity is finished. Okay, all right. Now, this is another story because this one involves the Amorites now. Now, we'll still stay here, but we'll go into the story of Abraham now. Remember, Abraham left Haran right here. Haran or Haran? Haran. Okay. And he was told that you have to go into just go. Now, why am I going? Just go. So he believed, right? And then one night, the Lord came unto him and said that came into the dream, right? And the Lord said, look up into the sky and see all the stars there. Can you number the stars? That's what is your seed going to be like, right? And then what did he say? He says, well, wait a minute. How am I going to inherit all of this? I don't even have a son. I don't even have any posterity. How's my seed going to be like the what? So he says, give me a sign, right? Right, give me a sign. Right.
Sign, there's the sign.
So what was the sign? What did he have to do? Okay, well, first of all, we have to see. First of all, we got to see. The sign was those animals, right? Right, the 5 animals that he had to divide.
The 3 had to divide it.
So is this? Look at this 215 here. This is the time that they were in Egypt. Okay. Look at this time here. What is this? From Haran to Jacob entering. How many years is that? 215. This is 215, and this is 215,
The 430.
right?
So
What does that mean?
Doubling,
Right, right. That's when they were divided,
divided.
right? Yeah, because
Lot.
Abraham was saying he asked for a sign, and the Lord gave him a visible token for his after generations. So it's something that they can see. What is it that they can actually see, right? Now they are told that Genesis. You have to go to Genesis 15 verse 16. Right? Oh, I'm going to read from Genesis 15 to 15:13. And he said unto Abram, know for a surety, from 15:13, know for a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. And they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years, right? They're going to be afflicted 400 years, right? Afflicted from where? From the time that Isaac was mocked until they come out. They're going to be afflicted 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and after they were come out with a great substance. They came out with a great substance at the Exodus, correct? And also that nation whom they shall serve I will judge, and afterward they, okay. But in the fourth generation, right? In the fourth generation, they shall come hither again. In the fourth generation, the Israelites is going to come here again, come to Canaan, but they cannot enter. Why? For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Okay, where's this fourth generation of the Israelites? Now this is from here. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and his 12 sons. Is this 215 in Canaan, right? This is 215 in Canaan, right? Abraham, Isaac was born, Isaac was born right here.
Yeah, there.
Jacob was born right here, 60. And his sons were all born right here, right? So that's 4 generations in Canaan. Okay. What about in Egypt? How many generations in Egypt? Levi, Kohath, Amram, and Aaron. Actually, Levi is part of this generation too, but I guess in a way he's part of this generation. And then Aaron and sons of Aaron. But there's 4 generations here too. Right? There's 4 generations here. There's 4 generations. The 4th generation will come out. But they cannot enter into the promised land until the iniquity of the Amorites is full.
Which is more one generation.
All right. So where's the Amorites now? Remember, this is not the Amalekites. The Amalekites were their iniquity is full right here, right? Remember, Saul had to kill, but he didn't kill. They're Amorites. This is the Amalekites. Now we're talking about the Amorites. The Israelites cannot enter Jordan until the iniquity of the Amorites are full. So when they have to have some sort of exposure to the Amorites. So it is pretty easy. Just Esau, just write Amorites. When was the first time that they had encounter with the Amorites? It is when Lot was captured by the Canaanite kings, and Abraham had to go and rescue, right? Abraham was already rich. He was already rich, and he was well known.
Yeah.
So, and Lot was captured by the Canaanite kings, and because they attacked Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Right. So when they attacked, he had to go get his servants, and he go attack the king of Canaanites. You have to go to, all right, let's see, Genesis, oh boy, it's got to be Genesis, I can't remember where, but anyway, it's got to be Genesis 13 or 14. It's Genesis 14,
Capture of Lot.
right? The capture of Lot,
Yeah.
right? Who was on the side of Abraham?
Was on the side.
Who was on the side of Abraham? Who because the kings of the Canaanites, they attacked Sodom and Gomorrah, but they also attacked the Amorites and the Amalekites. So it was the Amorites that was on the side of Abraham when they had to go and rescue.
So
They had to
were
go
helping.
rescue.
They were helping
So Amorites was helping
Abraham.
Abraham, right? So that was right here. The Amorites had exposure to Abraham. It was actually 10 years after. He was right here. From here until here has got to be 400 years. Actually, it's more than 400 years because the iniquity was finally full. So this is from here to here is 400 years. From here is about like 430 years. It's like 475 years also. It's approximately another 475 years until when they cross Jordan and they enter. So the fullness of the cup for the Amorites is 475 years, because way before they already was exposed to the power of God right here, right? At the time of Abraham when he had to rescue Lot. Yeah. But so their iniquity was full right here, right? For the Amorites. The iniquity for the Amalekites were full right here, right? So now you know, all right?
And they were the Semites were sons of Ham.
Right.
Yeah.
The Amalekites were the sons of Ham also.
Ham also.
Yeah. Now this is from Patriarchs and Prophets 4:34. 4:34. Although the Amorites were idolatrous, whose life was justly forfeited by their great wickedness, God spared them 400 years to give them unmistakable evidence that He was the only true God, the maker of the heaven and earth. What happened is when the children of Israel, they made a circle around the Sinai, right? And when they wanted to enter again, they had to pass through the land of the Amorites. But the king of Amorites, he did not let them pass through. So what did Joshua have to do? He had to kill, he had to defeat the Amorites. Then he entered. And that's about 475 years here from the time that the Amorites actually helped Abraham, their forefather. So that's when their iniquity is full. You know, this just goes to show, you know, it's actually, you get more, you got an extra time, even after your fourth generation. You know, God gave them, He said, I'm going to give you 400 years, but actually He gives you more. Yeah. So we're on borrowed time, you know. For us too, it's actually going to be. Yeah. So let's see this. See, these are right? He divided them, right? Right? The heifer, the ram, the she-goat, the pigeon, and the turtle dove. He divided them. And what happened? And then he had to drive away the birds of prey. And then he fell into a deep sleep. And there was darkness. Oh, why is there darkness? Because it's midnight. Yeah, right? All right? The darkness. And what happened? Then the presence of the Lord came in the form of what? The presence of the Lord came in the form of a burning lamp and a furnace, a smoking furnace. Right? It went right through them and it burned the offering. Right? And that offering became ash. Later on, that ash was a symbol of the sixth plague when he threw up the ash, right? Remember we did this last week? He threw up the ash and it became boils. That was the sixth plague when they were ready to come out. So that ash, this is the 215 years. That ash, meaning they are ready to come out. Right. So here you see there is a chiastic mirror here. 215 and 215. They're divided right in the middle. All right. This is the time that they're in Canaan, 215 years. 215 years they're in Egypt. All right. All right. 4 generations on this side, 4 generations on this side. Right. See that? Do you see that? Like that's why the animals were divided. Right. 3 and 1.
4 generations.
Yeah, they're divided. 4 generations on one side, 4 generations on this side. This is a now.
Who figured that
Huh?
out?
Who figured this out? This was just last week at the School of the Prophets, Theodore Turner.
Wow. Because you know that sign of the animals. Wow.
You see that, right? Now do you understand the covenant now?
Mm-hmm.
The covenant for what? The covenant. You're gonna be divided. You know, yeah. This is the chiastic mirror. Do you see it? Now you're ready to see more mirrors, right? Because there's more. Okay.
You call it a chiastic.
Chiastic mirror, because it's like a prophetic mirror. It's a mirror, one side and the other. You will see that. You will see this over and over again. Okay, so this is when Abraham left Haran. Haran? Is it Haran? Huh?
Haran would be like
Oh yeah, I know. I guess that's true. Okay, Jacob enters Egypt. How many years was that? 215, right? So this is 215. And this is another 215 from Egypt to Exodus, right? So this is Canaan, and this is Egypt. This is the chiastic mirror of prophecy. There's 4 generations here, 4 generations here. Okay, let's see another chiastic mirror. The scattering of literal Israel, 723. Who was scattered? Which king died here at the scattering of literal Israel? Which king? Hoshea. The northern kingdom, 723. All right. And then they had to flee into the wilderness. Spiritual Israel had to flee into the wilderness, 538, when the papacy came, because that's another 1260 until they were gathered again. There's a 1260 years under who? Paganism, and there's another 1260 years under papalism. Right? That's another chiastic mirror. This is we know this. This is 2520. There's one here. This is under paganism. This is under papalism. This is in Canaan. This is in Egypt. Right? Do you see that? All right. You got to put that together. There's another one here. Okay. This is for the northern kingdom, which is Israel. What about for Judah? It has to have the same thing for Judah also, right? Whose pride of power was broken at 677? Manasseh. Remember? Manasseh was pride of power, it was broken. And then the captivity of Daniel at the time of Jehoiakim is 607, when Nebuchadnezzar came. How many years is that? 70 years, right? From here until Cyrus, how many years is that? If it's a chiastic mirror, it's got to be 70 also, right? Yeah. This is the time of Judah, and this is the 70 years that they are in captivity in Babylon, right? This is the chiastic mirror. You see that? They're being divided, right? This is you're being divided. So that's what it means to be divided, right? Right. The children of Israel, literal and then spiritual, right? This is the pride of power. This is actually literal Judah. What happened to them, right? Okay. Now you can put all those together and you realize these things will also happen to us in our time, right? Because this is midnight. Right here is midnight, right? Remember? Why is this midnight? Midnight and midnight cry, basically. This is the beginning of the binding time because it was dark, and then he had to offer his sacrifice, and then the presence of Christ came and burned the sacrifice, right? This is the time. So this mirror will also happen in our time, and we're gonna study that this from here to here on the chiastic mirror from in our time will be the French Revolution. All right, this is right. They're under papalism. They're under Babylon, and all of this. They're under Egypt. All right. Wow. It's going to be the French Revolution. So we'll eventually get to the French Revolution because it's still part of the signs also. And we'll have to get there. And that's a big topic. Big topic, very important topic. Okay. All right. So now we're really not done yet. Really not done. There's still some more here. Okay. We will go here. We will see this mirror also in the time of Joseph, the story of Joseph. Okay, remember that this is 215 and this is 215, right? Right. Because Isaac born to the time Jacob was born is 5 plus 55, which is 60, right? This is 100. This is 185. 185. Oh, okay. Anyway. Jacob enters Egypt. All right. When Jacob enters Egypt, how old was he? It's 130 years. Or 130 years, right? All right. And when he enters Egypt, how many years had the famine been going on for? 2 years. It's been going on for 2 years because what did he say? What did Joseph say? There's 5 more years of the famine, right? Okay. So Joseph was born here. We'll figure out when Joseph was born, right? Joseph, how old was Joseph when Jacob enters? We'll figure it out. It's not difficult to find out because when Joseph was born and then he went to interpret the dream to Pharaoh, how old was he? 16. How old was Joseph when he interpreted Pharaoh's 2 dreams? How old was he? He's 30.
30? Yeah.
And now what's the significance of him being 30? Because Joseph is a type of, it's a type of Jesus. What happened to Jesus when he was 30? He was baptized, right? He was baptized. He received the Holy Ghost. He was baptized. It's still small, huh?
Oh, it's hard to see. Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, it's small. It had to fit many things here. Okay, so from the time of that Joseph was born until he went to Pharaoh and interpreted the dream, it was 30 years. Okay, let's put that right there. He interpreted the dream right there. So between here and here is 30, okay? All right, he's 30. He interprets a dream. So from the time that he interprets a dream until from that time, right away, the 7 years of plenty started, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was 2 years into the famine. So it means from here to here is 7 plus 2. So how old was Joseph when Jacob was 130? 39 years old. Do you get that?
Jacob?
How old was Joseph when Jacob enters Egypt? Right. Because he's 30 years old when he gives he interprets the prophecy, right? And he says it's going to be 7 years of plenty. And then after 7 years of plenty, there's going to be 7 years of famine. But 2 years into the famine, Jacob enters. And at the time Jacob enters, he's 130. So when Joseph was 30 plus 7 plus 2, meaning 39, Jacob is 130. You get that? You get that, right? Okay, so here's plus 7, and here's the other 7. Is there a chiastic mirror there? There's a chiastic mirror right there. 7 and 7, right? Because this is the time of plenty. This is the time of famine, right? Yeah, there's a chiastic mirror right there. Okay.
So when was he born?
So when was he? Joseph was born was here. What about Jacob? When Jacob was born? Okay. All right.
Use my calculator.
Yeah, you get a calculator. All right. Okay, let's see. So how old was Jacob when Joseph was born? 130 minus 39, right? Because Jacob is 130, Joseph is 39. So how old was Jacob when Joseph is born? 130 minus 39
39
is 91. Jacob is 91 years old when Joseph was born, right?
How was the lifespan here?
He lived until he was almost 147 years old, 150. He was 150 when he died. Right. So he's only a little bit halfway into his middle ages.
But different wives, right?
Oh yeah. Remember we did this last night. Okay, when Jacob was born,
So when you add
when Joseph was born, he was 190. He was 91 years old. Between here and here is 91. Right?
91, okay.
Right. Because Joseph.
You can write it in.
Yeah. No, I'll
Later. Yeah.
well, we'll put this in later. Okay. Now we're gonna do another thing. When Joseph had his 2 dreams, how old was he when he had his 2 dreams that he dreamed that his brothers and sisters were bowing down to him, his mother and father? How old was he? He was a teenager.
15, 16?
You're almost right. You're almost right. How do you know? How are we gonna know this? We're gonna know it from here. Ellen White gives you a cheat sheet. Okay. All right, Ellen White's gonna give you a cheat sheet. All right. Ellen White gives you a cheat sheet. Okay, what is Ellen White? Jacob's sons came with the crowds of buyers to purchase corn of Joseph, and they bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. Remember that? That was basically right here. Okay? Right? He knew them at once, but they failed to recognize him. There was indeed little semblance between the mighty governor of Egypt and the stripling whom 22 years previous had sold to the Ishmaelites. All right? Okay, 22 years before they came in here was when Joseph interpreted a dream, and then he was sold by his brothers. So he was sold by his brothers here, right? And the butler and the baker. Okay, the butler, he interprets the dream. His dream is right here, and here's the butler and the baker. So from here to here is 22. Now the butler and the baker was 2 years. Remember, it was 2 years between right? Now you gotta. This is algebra. You gotta remember algebra. From here to here is 9 years, right? Remember, this is from here, from this line here to this here is 9 years, right? Because this is 7 plus 2, right? And from the butler and the baker to to Pharaoh's dream. How many years? 2. So there's 2, 7, and 2. How many is that? 11 years. So from the butler and the baker to the time that Jacob enters is 11 years. From the time that from here to here is 22. So how many is what is this? That's another 11 years.
Another, oh my
There's
goodness.
another chiastic.
There's another mirror.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's another 11 and 11.
Wow.
Okay. All right. What about when Joseph was born? There's another chiastic mirror when Joseph was born. Remember? We did this last night. All right. Joseph was born 7 years. Remember, he was born 7 years after
Leah. Oh,
after Jacob married Leah and Rachel. Remember, because he had to work for 7 years, and he was thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna work for Rachel," and it turned out, "Oh my, actually I'm gonna get Leah." And what happened? Then he says, "Okay, finish off 7 days." Right after that, he married Rachel, and then he had all these sons with Leah and the two handmaids. And he had how many children with Leah and the concubines? 6 plus 4, 10. But then he had also Dinah, right? So he had 11 children in 7 years, right? And at the end of the 7 years, he had Joseph. And it was 12 years later before he had Benjamin. So let's see here. This is when Joseph was born. That was the end of the 7 years that he had to work for Rachel. And prior to that, he had to work for 7 years for Leah. So this is the 7 years of Leah, and here's the 7 years of for Rachel, right? And remember, this is 215, and this is another 215. This is another 215. So you see, there's 215 right here. There's 215 right here. There's 4 generations. There's 4 generations, right? And then 4 generations, they come out. Right? They came out with great substance. The 4th generation, they come out. All right. There's the 7 years for Leah, 7 years for Rachel. 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. There's the 11 years between this prophecy and to this prophecy. There's another chiastic mirror. So you see, there's like 4 chiastic mirrors in the story of Joseph. That's how old he was when he interpreted the dream of here he was born. He was 30 years old when he interpreted the dream that there's going to be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine, right? So do you see that? Wow.
I like to put dates there.
Yeah, I was going to put dates, but it became so
much.
I put the dates there. I said, "Oh, I'm confused. There's too many numbers." It was just too many numbers. So I put the dates here, okay, on my notes. There were just too many numbers. All right, that's why I put it up here. But the most important thing that you can see these chiastic mirrors, because these chiastic mirrors are in prophecy so many times, and all the time you will see them. All right. Okay. All right. How are we doing? Okay. So now we're going deep into chronology. This is where you can't be dozing off because I'm going to ask you questions. All right.
Looks like
All right. But I'm going to make it big. I'm going to make it the what is going to be. I can't make it bigger. Yeah. I can't make it bigger just because it won't fit. So I had to put it in.
Wow.
All right. We're gonna do the chronology of the time of Jehovah from Josiah all the way to Zedekiah. All right.
What is Amnon in?
Okay.
This is like putting Amnon.
All right. I'm gonna start describing this. We're gonna start describing this. This is the when you're doing the chronology, you have to use Julian calendar. What is the Julian calendar? The calendar that was used at the time of Jesus. I just remember it. The Julian calendar was the calendar at the time of Jesus, right? Yeah. It was only later that was changed to the Gregorian calendar. So when you're doing chronology of the kings, you have to use the Julian calendar, right? And the Julian calendar is from January to December, just like us here. So here, this is December, January to December. You know, this is all right. That's what 628. This is 628 BC. All right, it keeps going like this. All right. Okay. Now for the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, they had what is called regnal years. Regnal years is when the king becomes king, and he becomes king for 1 year, right? From the time that he becomes king, for that 1 year is called a regnal year. The time that he reigns, the year of his reign, regnal year, when he reigns. So at the time that Josiah reigned, 1 year is a regnal year. The problem is that the kingdoms will have different times when they start a regnal year, a reigning year. From the time of Josiah until the time of Jehoiachin, they started it from fall to fall. This is pretty amazing, because before that, all the Judah kings had it from spring to spring. So not from the time of Josiah, from the time of Manasseh. For some reason, Manasseh changed it to fall to fall, so that his first reign starts from fall to fall. So that's why we put it up here. Right? Look at that; it's from fall. This is January to December. So his reign is from fall to fall. I make it right here. You see this? This is why it's fall to fall. It kind of towards the end of the year. So his reign starts kind of towards the end of it. This is fall, and it goes to fall, to fall, to fall. You see that? You see that? Okay. All right. The thing.
One box is a year.
Yeah. One box is 1 year.
What year is Nisan? What year is fall? I mean, what month is fall? Nisan?
Tishri.
Tishri. Okay.
Right. The month of Tishri.
Okay.
All right. That's like the 7th month. Right. Now the problem is that when Zedekiah became king, his reign is spring to spring. When Zedekiah, remember, Zedekiah is the last king. He's the last king. He's right here. This is Zedekiah. I'm gonna put, okay, all right. So Zedekiah is right here. This is, I put Nabopolassar. Nabopolassar is the father of, who's Nabopolassar? He's the father of Nebuchadnezzar, right? It's very important that we know who Nabopolassar is. He's basically the first king that really became the king of Babylon in secular history. He's the first king of Babylon. But in prophetic history, who's the first king of Babylon? Nebuchadnezzar in prophetic history. But in secular history, he's the real one that became king, because he's the one that defeated Assyria. Because Assyria was the power in the old days before Babylon came. Assyria was the ruling world power. He ruled. They ruled the whole Mediterranean area, basically, in that area, and the Sumeria and the Levant, and everything in that area was under Assyria. and then Babylon came. Right. Okay. So Nabopolassar starts right here. Now, when you see A, is because there is such a thing in those days. There is such a thing as an accession year. You know what an accession year is?
So all these stand for different years.
Yeah.
There's no.
Right. So this is the Julian year, 622 BC, 621 BC, 620 BC. But this is the first year of his reign. But the year before that is his accession year. Right? Why is that important? You know, because what happens if this king his father died somewhere in the summer? Right. From the summer until the spring, it's not a full year.
Yeah.
Right. So what do they call that? That's an accession year. Let's say his father died right here. So from here to the spring, that's his accession year. All right. It's not a calendar year. It's not a calendar year. But it's called an accession year.
So
it does
it's
not
not
last
the-
a whole year.
So it's not the rental year.
It's not even half a year. It could be. What if he dies? He dies some in December. It's only a few months.
Now this is only something they keep track for the reign, but they have their own calendar in conjunction to this.
That's right. They
Okay.
all
This is just for the reign, just to
Right.
keep track of the kings.
for to keep the track.
They are elected that.
Right.
November.
But then they don't start.
Yeah.
until-
They don't start
Yeah.
until right.
That's
But
the
when was he
accession.
elected? Yeah. So it could be
It's like
any time. So
rental
it,
year.
the accession year could be a whole year, but it could be only a few months,
Or
or a couple, maybe two weeks. It depends on when the father died. Right? Yeah. Before spring, because spring is when the Nebuchadnezzar or the Babylonians, they start their regnal years. So up until their regnal years always starts in spring, right? Here. So it goes all the way until here. Now look at this. He died in his 21st year of reign, but his 21st year is only like a short time, and then he dies, and then Nebuchadnezzar became king. You don't count that as his first year. That's his accession year. See, that's his accession year. And then when it comes spring, then you start counting. That's his first year. That's his first year of reign. You get that? This is Nebuchadnezzar. Right? Nebuchadnezzar keeps going this way. This is Nabopolassar. The blue is Nabopolassar. He dies on his 21st year of reign, right? But he actually reigned 22 years, right? Because his accession year here, right? So actually, how many running years did he reign? Actually, 22 years. If you count this, yeah, if you count accession years, he goes from here, and then this is also his year of reign also, because this is his accession year, and this is another year of reign.
So it's kind of superimposed.
So you got to know when he says, okay, he reigned for 21 years. Are you talking about his running total years, or how many years he reigned? How many regnal years? Right? This becomes very important, right? Because then Nebuchadnezzar becomes he goes back to Babylon, and on his accession year is right here. He does not begin his first year of reign until the spring, right? Right. Okay. Now this is Zedekiah. Zedekiah also is spring to spring. So his first year of reign is spring right here. That's why it lines up with Nebuchadnezzar. But he also has an accession year. Okay. His accession year should be, I should move this a little bit here, because up here, now this will be Jehoiakim. Jehoiachin is only 3 months, and this is this is the continuing running of Okay, Jehoiakim is right here. Then Jehoiachin No, this is, I'm sorry, this can't be. This is 3 months, 31 years. No, this is Josiah. Sorry. This is Josiah. This is Jehoahaz for 3 months. And then the accession year for Jehoiakim, right? This is Jehoiakim. Jehoiachin only for 3 months. And Jehoiakim, and this is when Daniel was taken. Esther and Mordecai's family was taken, right? And then this is Zedekiah, right? So this is Josiah, Jehoahaz 3 months, Jehoiakim, Jehoiachin for 3 months, and then Zedekiah down here. Right? I will put it, but it becomes a little bit too heavy. There's too many things right now.
And there's little space.
Yeah. Now, the thing about it is,
The first one is Nabopolassar.
all right, I'll put it up there, but here I wanted to show who is, how can we establish one of these dates by secular calendar, right? And to establish it, remember our pioneers used the canon of Ptolemy to get the year 457, because according to the canon of Ptolemy, Artaxerxes' year started when? 464.
Okay. And
464, right? Because it was on the 7th year of Artaxerxes that his decree was made, which is 457, right? And Adventism hung 457 based on the canon of Ptolemy. Because the canon of Ptolemy, everybody believed it is correct. Because the Babylonians, they really knew their dates, right? Yeah.
The kind of Ptolemy was that for Assyria? Where did it start?
Well, it actually started even before, even at the time of Assyria. Even at the time of Assyria, they already kept calendars, and all these calendars are also based on the time of the comets. Then they know when the comets are, and when you calculate the comets, it falls exactly the same because you know when the comets are coming.
They keep track of the
They
kingdom of
keep-
Israel and Judah.
It only goes, canon of Ptolemy only goes until Medo-Persia, and then Egypt until the time of the queen. What's the queen?
Egypt.
The queen of Egypt.
Oh,
Nefertiti.
No, not
No,
Nefertiti.
The one Mark Antony.
Yeah, Mark Antony and Cleopatra.
Okay.
All the way to Cleopatra. That's it. The canon of Ptolemy. So there's a synchronism here because 457, is, if you know 457, then you will know, then you can start backtracking this, right? Because you will see that Cyrus the Great, Nabopolassar starts in, what does it say right there? 625, all right? So we'll put that up there. See, this is Nabopolassar, right? And it's 625. Now I made it bigger. Okay. Nabopolassar is 625, which is, according to the canon of Ptolemy, is correct because he starts at 625. What about Nebuchadnezzar right here? Nebuchadnezzar starts what?
604, 605.
It starts 605. Okay, 605 is his accession year. 604 is his first year of reign. Right. Because his father died at, but anyway, his father died at 605. 605. But that's his, so 605 is his accession year. And 604 is his first year of reign. All right? Okay. So you see that? Okay. That's why I put this up. So this is Nabopolassar. This is Nebuchadnezzar. 605, 604, and that goes. You can find these dates also in the canon of Ptolemy. All right. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay. Let me. Oh, now this is Jehoahaz. Jehoahaz is only 3 months, right? This is Jehoiakim, and this is Jehoiachin. 3 months. Jehoiachin only 3 months, and then But then when you start counting his captivity, you count it as if he was reigning. Okay, but he's already in Babylon. This is why Ezekiel was saying during the 5th year of the captivity. He's actually talking about the captivity of Jehoiachin. Right? Ezekiel will always say, so when you're studying Ezekiel will say during the 5th year of his captivity or the 6th year of his captivity. Which captivity is Ezekiel talking about? The captivity of Jehoiachin. All right? Okay? You got to put that in your memory bank. Yeah, you got to put that in your memory bank because we're going to go back to it. Okay, and this is Zedekiah. So Zedekiah here. Zedekiah is spring to spring. Josiah, Jehoahaz, Jehoiakim, Jehoiachin, they're all fall to fall. Okay, so you see all that? All right, okay. A lot of information right there. But this is kind of like a basics for studying chronology. Now, is this important?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is important. Because without this, you cannot decipher Ezekiel's prophecies. Yeah, Ezekiel 4. You cannot decipher. Okay, so we'll go. Now, is there another secular witness to these numbers? And this was only deciphered later on when they deciphered the Jerusalem Chronicle. It's probably in the 1950s when they published this, right? The Jerusalem Chronicle is at the British Museum. All right, so we'll go through this. In the 21st year of Nabopolassar, oh, now we can see it. Where's the 21st year of Nabopolassar? Okay, here 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21st, right? Right. On the 21st year of Nabopolassar, you see that? That's his 21st year, right? The crown prince Nebuchadnezzar. Now, remember that this is a secular. This is the Jerusalem Chronicle. This is a cuneiform that's in the British Museum. Okay. Nebuchadnezzar defeated Egypt at Carchemish, and then went and conquered the whole area of Happy. Okay, you know, I wouldn't let it go just like that because I had to know where Happy is, but I'll put it up. You know, where's Happy? But anyway, he defeated Egypt at Carchemish, and he conquered the whole area of Happy. Nabopolassar died on 15th of August, 605. Oh, yeah, it was very, very specific. All right, this is already translated to the 15th of August, but this is actually a different date. So we know the exact date that he died. Right, he died August, so that's in the middle right here. Right, August it's right here. Somewhere right here, right? Yeah. So Nebuchadnezzar returned to Babylon in September and was crowned king on 7 September 605.
Very precise.
Man, how much more? It's, you know, this is why the chronologists can put even the dates, they know exactly. Right? 605. He went in September, right here, 605. In his accession year, huh? See that? It's a accession year right here. That's still 605. He returned to the Hatti land until early 604. He went back to Hatti in 604. In his first year, which is 604, right? He went again to the Hatti territory until the end of 604, right? So here, his accession year right here, and that's his first year. That's when it's in August right here. His father died, and then he was reigned king, and became king, and that his first year, and right there. Okay, but very, very, very detailed, so detailed. You know, all this information was not available to our pioneers. They didn't know this. Neither did James Ussher know this, right?
Yeah.
Well, he wrote this. James Ussher wrote his chronology in 1500.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was not deciphered until the 1950s or 18 something. But this specific one was not, translated until the 1950s. Okay. All right. 603. Oh, this is 603 when then in his first year, he went again. His first year, he went again. His first year goes until the spring of 603. That's why his first year is 604 and 603, right? Now you're starting to see this? You're figuring this out, all right? Well, we got to do a little bit more of this, and then you'll know. So where's the Hatti land?
Right there.
Here's Hatti. Here's the land of Hatti, the land of the Hittites. The land of Hittites. This is Hatti land. Yeah, right. Who's the most famous Hittite that you know in the Bible? Okay, don't open your Bible. Who's the most famous Hittite in the Bible?
It's just in the time of the judges.
He had a very beautiful wife.
Samson. Oh, Samson.
No,
Not Samson.
Oh,
We're talking about
that the king saw taking a bath.
Oh,
David.
Oh, the Hittite, the
Uriah the Hittite. Bathsheba. Okay, he's the most famous Hittite.
Uriah. Right.
This is the Hatti land, right? So Nebuchadnezzar came and conquered he came in Hatti land. Now look at this. This is very, very important. This was called Hatti in the old days, and this is called the Levant. What is the Levant in our time? This is the Levant right here. What is this? Lebanon and Syria. Where is Levant actually pertinent these days? Why is it pertinent? Why is it pertinent? ISIL. What is ISIL? What is ISIS? What is ISIS? What is ISIL? Okay, you know what? We just can't let it go just like that. Do you know what ISIS is? Islamic State in Syria. Iraq and Syria. Okay, what about ISIL? What is ISIL?
Islamic State of Lebanon.
What is Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant? What is the Levant? Syria and Lebanon. So it's Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. So when Barack Obama says we have to defeat ISIL. Yeah, he says ISIL. Why? Yeah. Because ISIL is actually Lebanon, Syria, and Iran. Oh, Iran or yeah, it's Iran. No, Iraq. Sorry, it's Iraq. Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. That's the ISIL, which is a bigger area than just ISIS. ISIS is just Syria. So if you're talking just about ISIS, it's in Syria. But ISIL is the Levant plus Iraq. Right? You get that? Right. So you can't just let that go because that's prophetically significant, and the Levant has been there since the old days. This is the Levant right here. And Lebanon. Uriah is a Hittite. Okay, anyway, you just can't read something and just say, okay, just let it go. No, right. That's
Uriah Hittite. That means he's from all the way from there.
He was one of the generals for David. Yeah, David's right here. He's right here. He comes from. Okay, well, all right. Here we go. This is the area. Well, that's the Levant right here. The Levant is right here. Carchemish. That's
The Battle
Carchemish.
of Carchemish.
All right. And 605, went Nabopolassar
Nabopolassar.
defeated Egypt at Carchemish. Right. That's Carchemish. Haran. Oh, you know where Haran is now.
Yeah.
So where did
Abraham.
Abraham come out from Ur?
Or
Ur of Chaldees. He was called out from Ur of Chaldees. The land of Ur right here. And
So it's
where did he
not-
go? He went and walked all the way to Haran. And when he was 75 years old, where did he go? He went down, then went down to here, and then he went to Egypt, right? But he went and he got his covenant right here in Canaan, right? He went to Canaan first, right? And they were in Canaan for 215 years, and then they went in Egypt for 215 years. But here, this is so important right here. You got to know where Ur is, Babylon, Haran, Nineveh. That's Nineveh right there.
So what
Carchemish. All right.
the Syria?
Okay. Assyria, the whole thing is Assyria. But then Assyria,
Lebanon, Syria.
yeah, this is Syria right here. Lebanon is Lebanon. Where is Lebanon? Lebanon is right here somewhere. Right. Lebanon is right here. Syria is right here. Syria. And this is Turkey is up here. And this Iraq is right here. Right. Obviously Israel right here. Okay. All right. So 612 BC. What's the big thing about 612 BC? Babylon. Well, Assyria was Assyria controlled this whole area, but Babylon and the Medes and the Chaldeans and the Scythians was led by Nabopolassar and the king of Media, which is Xerxes, and I can't pronounce his name. They went and rebelled against Assyria. They used to be all under Assyria, but now these countries, they all rebelled against Assyria, and they attacked the capital of Assyria, which is Nineveh. All right. So they conquered and they demolished Nineveh at 612, and this is very well established in secular history. There's no doubt about that this actually happened, right? So the Assyrians, they had to backtrack. So they backtrack and they made their capital in Haran, right? But then Nabopolassar keep attacking them, and then eventually had to go all the way to Carchemish, right? In the meantime, Assyria, as they were being attacked by Babylonians. The Assyrians decide, oh, you know what? We need help. So who did they call? The Egyptians. Because it was the Assyrians that set up the 26th dynasty in Egypt. They helped set it up. The 26th dynasty in Egypt was set up by the Assyrians. Well, I just memorized that number, but I didn't really just go into it. All right. But this 26th dynasty is Pharaoh Necho. Do you remember Pharaoh Necho?
Yeah.
Right. So what did Pharaoh Necho do? He said, "Oh, I'm gonna go up and help my allies, the Assyrians." He had to go up and wanted to go to Carchemish. All right. But what happened in 609? As he was going up, he was blocked over there in 609 by who? At Megiddo. Josiah. Remember Josiah? He went to Megiddo, and then Necho says, "What are you doing? I'm doing the Lord's work." Yeah. But what Josiah, he had to disguise himself, right? Right? Remember? And what happened to him? He get hit by an arrow, right? Megiddo, that's 609, Josiah, right? Okay, right there. Okay, all right. And then eventually in 608, the Egyptians and the Assyrians were able to attack the Babylonians, and they had a big war in Haran, 608. All right, now 607. Oh, what happened in 607? 607, but the Babylonians prevailed here and defeated the Assyrians and the Egyptians. So now Nebuchadnezzar decides to go and attack Jerusalem in 607 and took the three boys back to Babylon in 607, right? 607.
Although his father was still reigning, he was.
Right.
Yeah.
His father was,
Because the father was
then the father died, right? And then he had to return to Babylon, right? And then at 605, remember his father, and then his father in 605 attacked at Carchemish, right? 605, Carchemish. So now these numbers becoming a little bit more, more meaningful, because now what happened is that when Nabopolassar he attacked the Egyptians at Carchemish again, they retreated, and they were eventually all defeated in Hamath, right? Right. And at that time, Jehoiakim, Jehoiakim, 605, Jehoiakim, he decided, you know what, I'm going to rebel against Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar did not attack him directly. What he did was he sent bands of mercenary countries. So he sent bands of mercenaries to attack and subdue Jehoiakim in 605. All right. Now all these stories will become a little bit more clear when we go through them. All right. Now 597. I put this 597 because this becomes very famous. Becomes very very important. What happened in 597? And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city and its servants and did besiege it. Oh, he besieged Israel. Remember, at 607, he besieged already the time of Daniel. He besieged it in 597 again, at the time of and Jehoiachin, the king of Judah, went out to the king of Babylon, and he and his mother and his servants and his princes and his officers, and the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign. And the king of Babylon made Mattaniah. Who is this Mattaniah?
his uncle.
All right, his uncle, his father's brother, king in his stead, and changed his name to Zedekiah. All right, that's 597. All right. Okay. Now, here is the Jerusalem Chronicle. I put that up here because we're going to read this story now. That story is recorded in the Jerusalem Chronicle. Now, when you flip the Jerusalem Chronicle on the back, this is what it shows on the back. All right. In the 7th year, which is 598 or 597, which is the month Kislevu, the king of Akkad, which is Nebuchadnezzar. Wait a minute. Why is he called the king of Akkad? Yeah, Akkad. When you go and study Sumerian history, Akkad is the ancient kingdom that ruled this whole area. And then this is like the 2,000 years BC. 2,000 years BC. It was the kingdom of Akkad. Now the kingdom of Akkad separated. The northern part became Assyria, and the southern part became Babylon. Now, you know what? He wants to rule the whole area. So what did he call himself? The king of Akkad. I'm the king of Akkad. Because,
Assyria.
yeah, but he doesn't even have Assyria yet, right? He wants to, do you see the logic why he called himself the king of Akkad? Because he wants to rule the whole area. So I said, I'm the king of Akkad.
He wants everything to be a car.
Yeah, he wants everything to be Akkad like in the old days, you know, right? He wants to rule the whole thing. So then, oh, I get it. That's why he called himself the king of Akkad. He didn't call himself the king of Babylon, because this is Nebuchadnezzar. He mustered his troops and marched to the Hatti land. You know Hatti land? Oh, we already know. The land of the Hittites, Turkey. And he besieged the city of Judah, right? 598, 597. It was in the 7th year. He besieged the city of Judah. Wait a minute. Didn't it say it was in his 8th year before?
Yeah.
Here it says in the 7th year. So they were talking about his accession year and his first year. They were talking about, that's why that's the difference. Because there's a difference between accession and reign. This is in the 7th year. And on the 2nd day of the month Adaru, he seized the city and captured the king. Right? Which king? Jehoiachin, because then he appointed there a king of his own choice. Who's that? Mattaniah. Right? And received its heavy tribute and sent to Babylon. In the 8th year, see, in his 8th year, the month of Tebet, the king of Akkad, he marched to the Hatti land as far as Carchemish. In the month of Sabatu, the king returned to his own land. Right? In his 7th year. Okay, now we gotta see. In his 7th year, okay, here's Nebuchadnezzar. In his 7th year, right? 7th year right here. Okay, let's do it. In his 7th year, he went right there. When that's 598, right? He attacked Jehoiakim. Oh, he attacked Israel, right? So he attacked. It's got to be Jehoiachin, because Jehoiachin already became king. So he attacked right here, right?
It was the ascension year of Jehoiachin.
Right. Because he only reigned for 3 months.
So that's an ascension of Jehoiachin.
Right. Then he captured Jehoiachin and he put in Zedekiah. So Zedekiah was put in right here. Zedekiah was put in right there. I should have moved it. Zedekiah area. And in the 8th year, he returned back. Right? So it was 597 is his 8th year. Right? Right? 590. His 8th year is actually 597 plus a little bit of 598. Right? That's his 8th year. His 8th year of reign. Right? Okay. That's 596 right there. So this corroborates the timeline right here that we put. Okay. The Jerusalem Chronicle, which is in the British Museum. Right. So that, because Jehoiachin only 3 months. So his 598. The accession year for Zedekiah is 597. And then the first year of Zedekiah is 596. Right? Okay. So this is the siege of Jerusalem at 597. This is very important because we also know that there was a siege of Jerusalem in the time of Daniel. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and he besieged it. Okay, where's the 3rd year of Jehoiakim? 1, 2, 3. That's Jehoiakim's 3rd year. So that's right. Right. That's gotta be 607, right? It's 607. You besieged it in 607.
It's in between 7 and 8.
Right. Now look at this. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim. Oh, the 4th year of Jehoiakim. But I thought it was the 3rd year of Jehoiakim. That was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar. The 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar. This is what confuses a lot of chronologers, because they wanted to put this and this at the same time. So they put it at the same time, when actually it's not the same time. It cannot be the same years. These are different times, right? Because Nebuchadnezzar, the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Josiah, that the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, the which Jeremiah, prophet, spoke unto all the people of Judah. This is where a lot of chronologists get it confused, right? Because this 1st year of the Nebuchadnezzar is the 4th year of Jehoiakim. The 4th of Jehoiakim is not the 1st year, right? Because it's actually, so when Jeremiah was talking about the 1st year, he's actually talking about the ascension year, right? Right. So now you know that what Jeremiah was talking about is the ascension year of Nebuchadnezzar. Because look at here. This is the 4th year right here, which is 605, and that will be the ascension year right here. Because 605 does not touch the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, right? So Jeremiah is actually talking, the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar here, Jeremiah was actually talking about the ascension year of Nebuchadnezzar, right? So the siege, when was the siege? The 3rd year of Jehoiakim. That's at 607, right? The siege happens right here, 607. The first siege of Jerusalem was the time of Daniel, right? Jehoiakim. Daniel was taken here. And then Nebuchadnezzar came and sieged it again at the time of Jehoiachin, right? And then he changed Zedekiah's name from Nathaniah, and he put him up here. And then so that's why also Zedekiah, he started having a spring to spring.
He captured Jehoiachin.
Right.
And he
put up
Zedekiah.
And put up Zedekiah. Nathaniah. Right. Oh, there's actually 3 sieges.
3 sieges, yeah.
And then he sieged again right here at the end. The big siege comes right here. So remember, there's 3 sieges, right? It's very important that we know that there's 3 sieges, right? So are you starting to figure out these, accession years, 1st year reign, all these? Very important, right? To know. And this is actually a different time. This is Jeremiah. He was standing right here, and this is when Daniel was taken, right? That's the 4th year of Jehoiakim. Okay. All right.
A lot of numbers.
A lot of information. Yeah. I'm gonna do one more, okay? In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became a servant 3 years. He became a servant 3 years. So then he turned and rebelled against him. And the Lord sent up bands of Chaldees and bands of Syrians, bands of Moabites, bands of Ammon, and they sent them again Judah to destroy it. So where is this? According to the word of the Lord, which spake unto his servant the prophet. Surely at the commandment of the Lord came this unto Judah. He removed them out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh. So remember, he came here and he served, because Nebuchadnezzar, so 3 years. 1, 2, 3. So he sent, so it was in 605 that he sent bands of
soldiers.
Right.
Soldiers.
The mercenaries.
Mercenaries, there you go.
Right.
Yeah, you
Right.
pay another soldiers from another country.
Right. But he did not siege it because it was the bands that came.
They
Right.
were the ones who subdued Jehoiakim.
And these bands were the fulfillment of the
The
2520, right? And I'm gonna break your power of Manasseh, and I'm gonna send bands. And that's the second 2520. The second bands, I'm gonna send the animals, right, against you. That's the bands of animals. Right?
Bands of mercenaries.
677. That's Israel.
What's
723 was Israel, right?
Yeah.
72 and
And 677
is-
was
7 is
Manasseh.
Manasseh.
Yeah, because from 677 until 607 is 70 years. So Manasseh is way back here, 70 years,
yeah.
and there's 607 is the time of. All right, okay. All right, I think we'll end right here. There's a lot of information, but the prophecies will go more into prophecies. At least we have a foundation of where to go, because knowing that there's a difference between the fall to fall rain and spring to spring rain, right? And then the accession years, the regnal years, and this is a Julian calendar, and then Nabopolassar, Nebuchadnezzar, and Zedekiah, and all this, and then the first siege of Jerusalem, 607, the second siege, 597, and there's going to be a siege right here, also at the end of Zedekiah, right, in the 11th year. Okay, so we'll study more about that. We'll continue next week. That is the more sure word of prophecy. Okay.
Okay,